Coming up on this special edition of Upfront, I'm talking one-on-one with Grammy-nominated musician, recording artist, producer, and author Divinity Roxx. The celebrated bass player is back with the new children's album, Worldwide Playdate. The project features an amalgamation of hip-hop, soul, pop, and jazz-infused music. Divinity and I met at Atlanta's legendary Tree Sound Studios, where she recorded songs for the album to discuss her career, as well as working with her mentor and jazz master, Victor Wooten, and linking up with Beyonce for the tour of a lifetime. Divinity!
Yo, Ray,
This is so good. This is, when you called me and said, look, Ray, I need you to interview me. And so it was like, absolutely. Because the last time we actually saw each other, you came to the Jazz Music Awards.
Yes.
Was really excited. You were like, Ray, I need a ticket. I was like, absolutely, come on down.
Listen to me, I be calling up.
Right.
I know who to call. I know who to call. And I appreciate you answering my call every single time.
Absolutely. So you have this amazing new project.
Thank you.
Children's album. You were nominated a couple of years back for a Grammy for your first, that was your first children's album.
Yes.
This is your second.
Yes.
And we're going to get to that. But Divinity, I want to go back if we can, because you have such a rich history here in the A. You were born and raised here. Who was that young lady bopping around East Atlanta?
Oh my gosh. A young lady who was just trying to figure it out, Wow, when I think about her, she was audacious, she was bold, she had big dreams and aspirations to be somebody in the world. I grew up in a city that taught us that we could be anything we wanted to be. Being a little black kid in Atlanta, growing up in the Atlanta public school system, there were always people who would come to our schools and encourage us, to encourage us that we can be somebody. We came out of the civil rights movement, the home, of Dr. King. And so it was part of the curriculum to build our self-esteem. So we were always in these places where we were just told, you can do it, you can be it. And we're living in this city with black leaders. We got to see them lead in ways that no other city had people like that, right?
And I was going to say, living in Florida, Atlanta was that city that we looked to in terms of really seeing black excellence in the flesh, because you could look through Ebony and Essence magazine. Mm-hmm. We didn't necessarily see that in our hometown, but we saw it when we came to Atlanta. So Atlanta was always ahead of the curve. Yeah. Let's talk about, in that time, you were part of YEA.
A little bit,
bit. Okay, which is at that time, it was the Freddie Hendrix Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. And Freddie Hendrix, shout out to him, iconic arts leader in this community that really poured into the next generation of artists, actors, dancers, singers. What was it like kind of hanging around that group? Because you've got some friends from there, like Eugene Russell IV, who was an amazing artist.
Yes, man, there are so many. Justin Ellington, who is a sound designer on Broadway.
Wow.
He's winning all kind of awards.
Yeah.
So I was in a hip hop group called Dat Boo, Divinity and the Breakfast Unit.
Okay.
And the way we connected with YEA was, I believe they were putting on a hip hop play. And because my hip hop group was really blowing up on the underground and we were really popular, we were invited to come into a session as they were developing that play. I think there was some talk about possibly having some performances and, seeing if we were interested in being a part of the production. And it was the first time. This was a long time ago. This was before Hamilton.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? This was years and years ago, before we really had hip hop in those spaces, in theater. Freddie Hendrix and his group were really innovative. But I find that to be the truth about Atlanta. The music scene here was innovative. I mean, I could go in one night, hear incredible jazz at a jazz club, straight ahead jazz. Then I could go hear some jazz funk, some jazz soul. I could go hear some hip hop. I could go hear some rock. I mean, some funk rock, from Joy to Wild Peach to 3-5 Human, Little John, and all of these elements were happening here in this city, and I was just taking it all in. Theater, Black excellence. We were the epitome of Black excellence, and Atlanta still is the epitome of Black excellence.
We influence everything.
That's what hey, Atlanta influences everything. And I
Yeah.
feel like I was part of the ground, I was on the ground when that was really starting to happen. Watched Outkast go from, you know, just some local cats to
Yeah.
international,
Some kids at
internationally known.
Tri-City High School that really had a lot of talent.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah. You also attended North Atlanta, which is
I did.
Atlanta's version of fame, right? Because so many people
Yes,
came out of there.
that's
Crystal
true.
Fox came out of there. Jasmine
Yes,
Guy came out of there. So
yes.
what was that experience like?
Oh man, when I went to gosh, I'm gonna be aging myself. Oh my God. Anyway, I went to North Atlanta. I went to North Fulton.
Okay.
So North Fulton was an international studies school, and I was part of the IB program, the
Okay.
International Business Baccalaureate program. I was playing basketball. I got in that school because I was playing sports.
Okay.
And our school merged with the School of the Arts.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, we were immersed in this completely different culture.
Yeah.
It was a culture that I believe I was really supposed to be a part of, because then I wasn't really expressing my creativity. I was suppressing it in a sense. I was playing sports. I wasn't playing music anymore. The music had kind of been taken away from me in middle school. And in high school, I started writing raps. So when I got to North Atlanta is when we formed Dat Boo. Dat Boo came out of North Atlanta High School. All the members were in North Atlanta, and we started this hip hop group, and we really put our all into being different. That's the thing I love about Atlanta. You are encouraged to be yourself and be original, and the more original you are, the better it is to stand out, to get the attention.
Yeah.
Because you need that attention, but it's only by being yourself. You can't do what everybody else is doing.
And I want to say, was this around the same time that LaFace was really
LaFace had
booming
just
in
come.
the city? So you had artists like TLC and
Yes.
Tony Braxton
Yes.
and all those folks. Yeah.
When
wow.
you bring up LaFace, it reminds me that when I was really young, probably about 14 or 15 years old, there was a talent show put on by V103, I believe, and there were some judges from the radio station there, and Usher was in that talent show. He was a little boy, and I think he had won the week before, and they had
Wow.
invited him back because they were doing it weekly or something like
Okay.
that. And so he was there to showcase, and then there were others of us. I was a young rapper. And I was there to showcase and do my little raps, and I used to have this little move. All I could do was do this little move in my little raps, and I was like so hardcore, and I was like, yo, I'm a serious MC.
Yeah.
And he came and performed. He was a little boy, and I just remember he was so dynamic and so amazing, and to watch him go, for me, from that moment to being an international superstar, it was just incredible. Sometimes I feel like I'm the Forrest Gump of hip hop because I've been in so many spaces and places where I've seen that happen.
Yeah. And then you connected to the great Victor Wooten.
Oh, yes.
How did that happen?
So during that time, man, my hip hop group, we started to break up, and I really became serious about the bass guitar. I ruptured my Achilles tendon one summer, and all I could do was play bass. And a friend of mine, Jermaine Rand, handed me a Victor Wooten CD and said, listen to this, if you want to play bass. I listened to that CD and I said, oh my God, who is this man?
Yeah.
What is he doing? I will never be able to do that. Fast forward, he was having a bass camp, and I said, I got to learn from him. I got to go see what he's doing. It was amazing. By that time, I taught myself how to rap and play bass, which I thought was really unique and different. And I went to his bass camp, and I rapped and played bass for him and everybody there. And after the camp, he asked if I wanted to go on tour with him.
Wow.
And I said, yeah, I want to go on tour with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. And what was that experience? Because, he's a, you mention his name in certain circles and everyone, they have that reaction. So what was that like touring with this master of music?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. He is a master. It was like living with a master. A lot of times when you're like in martial arts, for instance, and you want to learn with the master, you climb this mountain. Mm-hmm. You go find a master in a cave at the top of the mountain, and you beg the master to teach me something. Mm-hmm. And the master says, you want to learn? Go sweep. Go paint a fence, go do all these things that seem unrelated
Right.
to learning. And Victor didn't make me go, sweep or
Right.
do anything like that. But
A wax on, wax off.
Yeah, wax on. But I got to live with him and his family and learn how he lived. And I just learned that he was such an incredible person, and that person was being poured into that instrument. I mean, I would sit at the edge of the stage and watch him take these incredible solos. And before he'd go out, me and my young self, I'd be like, Victor, what you gonna play?
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you don't know what you gonna play? But you got to go out there with your bass in front of all these people? And that's what he would do. He had this courage, he had this confidence, this wisdom in his instrument, and I wanted some of that. Touring with Victor changed my life, not only because I got to live with him and his brothers and learn music in an untraditional way. They allowed me just to be a part of the conversation. My little young self not really knowing what I'm doing. They just encourage me. They be like, yeah, girl, I play something. They be like, yeah, I ain't playing nothing, right?
Right.
They just be telling me it's great, right?
Wow.
So I wanted more of that. So I just kept studying and studying and studying. But I also got to meet some of the greatest bass players in the world, just being around the great bass players. So many people would come to the shows. Young kids who are now doing incredible things would come to the shows looking up to me being on stage with him. And now I'm looking up to them because they're just doing some great things in the music, and just with music generally. He changed my life, man. He made me appreciate the bass. Bass players are some of the coolest people in the world. They're always cool. If you ever get to meet the bass player, that's the person who's gonna bring you backstage. That's the person who's gonna keep in touch with you. When they come to town, they gonna call you up and be like, yo, what's up? What you doing? Hey, let's hang out. That's the person you want to meet in the band. It's just something about that energy, man. They're just cool, and it makes me proud to be a bass player.
Absolutely. More with Divinity Roxx after the break.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go?
Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
Welcome back to Upfront and our special profile on Divinity Roxx. You know, coming into this amazing space, as we talked mentioned at the top of the show, we're at the legendary Tree Sound Studios. Everybody who is anybody has recorded amazing music here. Usher has recorded here. There's a beautiful picture of Whitney Houston, Outkast, Elton John. I mean, so many legendary voices and faces. Your girl Beyonce. As
Yes.
soon as you come in, she's
Yes.
right there. I Am Sasha Fierce was recorded right here in that booth right behind us.
Wow.
Coming into this space and seeing that, let's talk about how you connected with her, because you actually served as her musical director for 6 years. You toured with her. Take us back to that moment, because that had to be exciting. I mean, she's one of the largest, if not the greatest music artist alive on the planet today.
Wow. You know, when I think about that sometimes, it really blows my mind that I had the opportunity to play bass for her and to be recognized as her musical director. Was more of an assistant musical director with Kim Burse and BB McGill, Rie, Suji. You know, so Beyonce had auditions for an all-female band.
Okay.
Right. During that time, I was touring with Victor. I was really making a name for myself on the underground scene. I was rapping, playing rock music, playing the bass, doing my thing, you know, really trying to have the life. I really wanted to live like Victor Wooten.
Yeah.
And have that type of career. I didn't need to be super famous. You didn't need to know my name. I just wanted to be able to sustain myself and be creative and have this career as an artist. So Beyonce's having auditions for an all-female band, and Victor's not touring all the time. And, you know, while my little musical career was amazing and it was fun, I was not making a whole lot of money doing it.
Okay.
So there's that struggle of being an artist,
right.
You know, despite being rich in content and creativity, the money side don't always pay out.
And
right?
I want to jump in, because I think sometimes people confuse that seeing you putting music out there or being on stage equates to having, but you really make your money during the tours. That's how musicians make their personal money.
Yes. So I would make money on tour with Victor, and then I'd come back and pay all my bills for, 6 months to a year.
Right.
So then I didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But then there was the day-to-day living, and I was playing at Apache Cafe at the time, and I don't even want to tell you what they was paying me at that gig, because it's embarrassing, But they were doing the best that they can. We were, we were building.
That's the yin and yang of life.
That's the yin and the yang, boy.
Yeah.
So when Beyonce had this opportunity came about, everybody that I had ever met who had ever seen me play, do my thing, my phone was ringing off the hook. Yo, Beyonce having auditions. You the first person I thought about. I was like, word?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not the first person I thought about. I could name so many incredible bass players, female bass players at the time, who I imagined would play that gig.
Right.
And I was not on that list. I just was not. I didn't put myself on the list. I don't know why they put me on the list, but people were calling, and so I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it because I didn't think that I was ready. I was afraid. I didn't think I would get it. And I had this trajectory, right? I had this idea about what I wanted for my life. God had another plan.
Right, yeah.
Some friends convinced me to go to the audition. I go, and make a long story short, I get the gig.
Wow.
And in that process of I went from not wanting it to starting to want it, and then I got it. And I was like, wow. Immediately, we were flown out to LA, and I'm on the BET Awards, playing behind Beyonce.
That was your first?
That was my first gig.
Wow.
That was our first gig. This all-female band.
Was this the Deja Vu performance?
Deja Vu performance, baby. That was.
That was a standout performance.
It was.
That was a standout performance.
Every time I think about it, it just brings me so much joy. Because I just know from whence I came.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I was looking into this camera, and I could see behind the camera my mom, my sister, my brother, all the people I loved who had been rooting for me and praying for me and hoping that something would come out of this passion and this love that I had for music and that I was pursuing so hard. I could see them. And it just brought the biggest smile to my face, because I was like, this is what y'all was praying for. I'm going to do this step, and I'm doing it with a smile. Oh, look at Beyonce. Oh, she killing it. Look at us. It was this thing. And that moment just, man, when I think about it, it just brings me so much joy. And that changed my life, man. Touring with her was incredible. Oftentimes I would look at her, we'd be in a space, and I'd just look at her and think, wow, we'd be in an arena, and everybody in that arena would be working. From the concession stands to the backstage people to every one of us, to the crew, this one person had opened up all of our lives to live and be able to pay our bills and be able to do what we loved. And I was just thinking, wow, that is powerful. I would sometimes say to myself, and with no disrespect, this little black girl has done this for all of these people. How powerful and how anointed is that? Woo, man.
Yeah.
She the real deal, man. And I'm not gonna front. I was not the hugest Beyonce fan when I got the gig. I didn't really know her music like that. I was into rock, and I was into all the hardcore stuff, and that's what I was playing. And Betty Davis, and Wild Peach, and they screaming, doing their thing, and the funk. And I wasn't really into the R&B and that whole world.
But she needed that cross section of women to create that band
That sound,
and to
yeah.
create that sound. Because just thinking back on that tour, that was a B-Day tour, right?
Yes.
She gave you all a spotlight to really
Yes.
showcase what you were bringing to the play and why.
Yeah.
Because people were saying, why does she want to do this? But when we saw the show, you understood why. Because when you all had your cameos, it was like, oh, these girls are bad. Yeah.
Impactful.
Yeah.
That gig was so impactful in so many ways. My solo, I wanted my solo to be an homage to the city of Atlanta and to the beginnings of my bass playing. So that's why I start the solo off with me and you, your mama and your cousin. I started off with that bass line because I wanted that song when it dropped. Everybody in Atlanta felt seen because me, you and your mama too, and your cousins was rolling down the strip on Rose. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That song spoke to our hearts, and I wanted everybody to know that's where I came from. That was one of the first bass lines I learned, and so I wanted my solo to just tell my city. It was a love letter to the city of Atlanta, to the whole music scene in Atlanta, to all these incredible musicians and artists. What I love about her bringing the all-female band together was she had this foresight. She understood the assignment. She understood how it would impact culture. There are so many times I'm out and some young lady will walk up to me and say, when I was 7 years old, and that thing throws me off because she was 7 years old. She saw us on stage and she said, I can do that. I want to do that. And when I meet that young lady, she's in a room with her instrument, playing a gig, and we might be playing that gig together.
Yeah.
And she's like, I remember seeing you on stage when I was a little girl. I remember seeing all of y'all, and I wanted to do that. And now this is what I'm doing. This is my life. This is the life I'm living. And B saw that. She knew that young women needed to see it. She knew young black girls needed to see us on stage performing, not just her performing, but to see us. One more story. I remember seeing this woman who brought her niece to the stage, to the show. She said, I was enjoying the show, and my niece looks up to me and says, it's nothing but women on stage. And she said, I didn't even realize it until she said it because I was so focused on being what she was doing. But that little girl was looking at everybody else and saying, whoa, that's a woman. She playing drums, she playing guitar. Wait a minute.
And the mamas.
And the mamas
providing
singing.
the vocals. Yep.
But you're used to seeing background singers, female background singers.
Yeah.
What you were not used to at that time was seeing women like us really digging into those instruments and owning them and playing them with all of our hearts.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Awesome experience.
Oh, man. The best.
More Upfront with Divinity Roxx after the break.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
In 4 days. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children. She didn't know what to do.
Did you have a good day at school?
She gave them some broth. Without any bread.
There you go.
And kissed them all soundly.
Night-night.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Upfront and our profile on Divinity Roxx, my special guest. Divinity, you all traveled around the world. The only place you didn't go was outside the world into outer space.
Not yet.
But after being on all of those world stages, life started lifing, as we say, and things changed a bit. I was reading that, you know, it was difficult for you in a sense as a solo artist coming from that, and you were a little disappointed about that. Can we talk about that? Because I think it's important for people to understand that there's ebbs and flows in this industry, and you're not going to always stay on top.
Nope.
But you still got to keep going. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Yeah, I think a lot of things started changing. Of course, you start changing. Human beings, no matter how much awesomeness you experience, you want some things.
Right.
You have expectations. You know, being a solo artist, going into that incredible experience was the first time I realized I was a bass player. I had never really been a bass player before. I learned what it meant to be a bass player, and that was incredible. And then my artist self started creeping in to the situation after I ran around the world and had so much fun being a bass player. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be a bass player. Shoot, okay.
But
And
you're
then-
so much more than that.
Right, when my artist self was like, what'd you say you gonna be? As soon as you start declaring some things
Yeah.
to the universe and to God, the universe says, hold on, let me show you something. So after I think it was the Sasha Fierce tour, B took some time off because she was living her life and
Right.
and gonna have a baby and all these incredible things. And I started thinking, well, what am I doing? I gotta go back and I gotta do my thing.
Right.
And it was really challenging. You know, it's challenging because when you remove yourself from the scene continues to move on and it continues to evolve. Everything continues to move and life's, and you got to figure out who you are and where you are and where you want to be in the world. So I decided that I was going to move to LA. I always loved California. And I wanted to really pursue my rock, hip hop, you know, that whole blend and record another record and do my thing. And so that's what I did. I recorded the Roxx Box Experience, and it became tumultuous because the band, you know, there's always some drama and there's always something that's going to happen and there's always paths and roadblocks and all these things. And my father passed away right after I made that record. And that was a huge blow to me in my life. And then my band broke up. And then I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. What am I going to do? You know, tragedy.
Yeah. What pushed you through that? What was the thing, the catalyst or the force that was pushing you to continue on?
A few things. My very first album was titled Ain't No Other Way. That's a mantra. It ain't no other way. You got to get it done. My mom always tells me, always expect a miracle. She always says that. That's her mantra.
You have a song
Always
titled
expect.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She, wow, you knew that from the Impossible album. She called and left me a voicemail during that time when everything was tumultuous. And I didn't know what was going to happen next. And if I was on the right path. Should I be pursuing a career in music? You know, should I be pursuing a record deal? Should I be independent? What do I do? Mom would call and be like, I always expect a miracle, because a miracle is coming. Yeah, that was a really tough, dark time for me. Just trying to navigate what was next. I started doing some shows in Europe, you know, touring out there. I started talking about retiring, calling up my friend Kat Dyson.
I read that.
You read that?
I read that you had released
I said,
an
I'd
album,
let it go.
and you said this was going to
This
be
is
your
gonna be
last
it.
album. Yeah.
I'm Possible was going to be my last album. I was going to figure out if I was going to be a teacher. Do I go back to school to be a journalist? I could do anything. Do I just become an audio editor? I don't know what I was going to do or be. But I just kept going and going and going. I got married. I finally allowed myself to connect with another person and be in that relationship 100%. Yeah. And that was really fulfilling. And we moved to New York. And it's funny, when we moved to New York, that's when I made the I'm Possible album. And I said, okay, well, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something different. And slowly, I went back to school. I went to Berklee College of Music.
So that's where
That's
comes
when I
in.
got to
Okay.
Berklee College of Music online.
Okay.
And even though I kept saying that I was going to get, not make any music anymore, I was like, well, maybe I need to just be better. Maybe if I was better at all these things, I would have more success. If I was a better bass player, if I was a better engineer. And so I got on this kick where I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day and practice. I would go to school online. I learned how to be a better audio engineer. And I ended up going on tour with Fantasia for a short period of time. I hadn't been on tour in a while, but that was so much fun. Connecting with her was so much fun.
And that was for the Roxx Soul
yes,
tour?
Man,
which
that was fun.
That's
y'all.
right up your alley.
Yeah, exactly. So when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
That
and
makes
I got
sense.
to play with her, and we connected, and we were kind of going through some similar things where we were evolving and life was lifing.
Yeah.
And we got to connect on a really cool level. And then the pandemic hit.
The world shut down.
The world shut down. No tours. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to practice. I don't know what's next. I'm going to expect a miracle. I'm going to study. And a friend of mine called me and asked me if I had some kids' music for a project he was working on. And I was like, I had written some kids' music years ago, but I was like, yeah, I can write something for that project. He was like, well, I need 7 songs in 2 weeks. I was like, hold on now. I'm going to send you as many as I can. There's a lot of songs to write, produce, record.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. So I sent him about 5 songs. I think they accepted 4 or maybe they accepted, maybe I sent them more. They accepted 4 or 5 songs for that project. And this project was for company Scholastic. You remember the Scholastic Book Fair when you were a kid?
I think we all grew up on Scholastic.
So I was excited for that.
Yeah.
They accepted the songs, and then they wanted to turn 2 of the songs into books. And I was like, what?
So here comes that writing.
Here comes that writing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
From I wrote these songs. They gave me these themes. I wrote these songs and I produced them. I was taking everything I learned at Berklee and putting it into this project, and so they were like, okay, next year you're gonna have 2 books coming out, and I was like, okay. I was like, that's cool.
So bassist, rapper, singer,
Now I'm an author.
journalist, you're an author.
Now I'm an author, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but that's kind of out of the blue.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I should make a kids album to go with the books.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that could kind of be cool. We got the kids album, got the books. Okay. Took some of those songs, made some more songs. Next year, I had a kids album, some books. We shot those videos from the Ready, Set, Go album in my apartment with the green screen.
Wow.
Me and my wife are in there. She's singing and dancing on and we was having so much fun because during the pandemic, we were shut down. So we just made this album and it just brought so much joy to our house. We had fun. I sit in that room for hours, tinkering and making these beats and writing these songs. And it comes out into the world and people are like, I like that on you, Divinity.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That seems like something you would do. And it wasn't typical kids music. It was the way I would make kids music, and the album got nominated for a Grammy.
For a Grammy. So I'm watching the Grammy announcements.
Let us see.
I'm seeing everything, and I'm just like, what? Like, oh my gosh! Like, because at the time I didn't know. I was like, okay, so she's doing this now. It was amazing to me because I was like, that's a really cool lane for you. Because I think that with your theater background, obviously the music, coming from Atlanta, it was just this natural next generation kind of project for you that I think that just really suited you well. So what was that like? I mean, getting that nomination.
It was almost like all those years of just working as hard as you could to be somebody. I am somebody, you little girl. I am somebody. And making this music that I always wanted to be impactful and positive and affirming. It was affirming, in a sense. I was really proud of that. When you're a little girl and you watch the Grammys, and you want to do something with the music. You watching your biggest stars, Michael Jackson accepting a Grammy and that speech, and you always imagine, oh, this is what I'm going to say when I get a chance. Oh, you get in the mirror and you do your little speech and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to look like when I do my speech. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I do that with an Oscar.
Exactly.
I do it with an Oscar.
Exactly. And the Emmy and all the things, because though it's nice to be recognized by your peers for the work that you put out into the world and the people you look up to and the people you want to be around who inspire you. It's just really nice. It's just affirming.
Let's talk about the collaboration that you did with Eugene Russell IV.
Yes!
H. Russell. He's going to give me for not saying
That's
that.
my dude.
This was an amazing musical production that was done through the Alliance Theater, also a theater company out of Seattle.
Seattle Children's Theater.
Yeah, and we're talking about The Boy Who Kissed the Sky.
The Boy Who Kissed the Sky.
Yeah. Music inspired by the life of Jimi Hendrix, who had to be a huge inspiration for you.
Absolutely. I went through my Jimi Hendrix phase, we want to play that live. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite songs. So Idris wrote this incredible play called The Boy Who Kissed the Sky. And I believe the Alliance has a very great relationship with Eugene. And the music was rock and hip hop. And so they asked him who he'd like to collaborate with. And Eugene and I have been running these ATL streets for years, playing shows and doing our thing. So he's like, I got the perfect person.
Yeah.
Called me up. We got together and we started working on this music. And it was also one of those affirming things. It was for children, again. So it was like the universe was saying, hey, something about this kids thing, something about doing this stuff for kids that's really important.
And listening to the interview, I went back and listened because that was one of the last times that you were on the show.
Yes.
Was we were talking about that, and just to hear the excitement from, I think you had brought up the story of Eugene's daughters.
Yes.
They were there with their school, and he was just like, man, the kids were screaming, and he was like, the lights were going, and they thought they were in a rock concert.
Yes.
They thought they were on stage themselves.
They were.
But that was such a big opportunity for you. Going from being a performer and then sort of being behind the scenes and working that magic behind the scenes.
That was, I got to pull back the curtain a little bit because I had never been on that side of the table.
Yeah.
That was my first time working in theater. The fact that Eugene was my partner, I mean, he's been doing this for so long. He's been doing the grind. He's been on the grind. You know how it is. We've been on this grind for a long time. So for us to have an opportunity to work together in that space was absolutely incredible. He taught me so much about theater, and I fell in love with theater and the possibilities of theater working on the music, and it's such an incredible play. That play is not only about Jimi Hendrix and his life. It is so inspirational. It's a history lesson. It's the history of Black music in this country. It's the history of Black people playing rock music. Mm-hmm. It's about imagination. Jimi Hendrix used to have a broom, and he would pretend like it was a guitar. always expect a miracle. He never knew he was going to play the guitar and be one of the greatest guitar players in the world.
Wow.
He used his imagination to turn that broom into a guitar. That guitar took him all around the world. My bass guitar took me all around the world.
Yeah.
It's those dreams, man. We gotta give kids hope and dreams and aspirations and belief, because they can be anything and they can transform this world that we find ourselves living in. That's what our jobs are, to help them find that place where they want to affect change and affect transformation.
When we come back, we will talk about Divinity's new album, Worldwide Playdate, and possibly a performance. We'll see. We'll try to get her to do that after the break.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
And we're back with my very special guest, Divinity Roxx. So, Worldwide Playdate is your latest project, the latest children's album that you released August
9th.
Yeah. Been jamming to it all week.
Yes.
I love Celebrate.
Oh, yes.
I'm a Force. Ooh. Let's talk about some of these great collaborations. And I'm not going to say who it is. I'm going to let you tell the audience who you're collaborating with on this project.
Oh, my goodness. I really wanted to have a play date. You know, I came up with the concept. I don't even remember how it hit me. I was like, play date, that's the next record. Who doesn't love a good play date, right? And what about a worldwide play date? I just love the way it sounds, right? Let's go around the world and have a play date. So I really wanted to collaborate. I started meeting so many incredible people. First, I called up an incredible producer by the name of Wayne Gerard. Okay. I didn't want to produce this record by myself. It's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And I really wanted to turn this record around. And he's an incredible producer. So we just started collaborating on ideas. I sent him a bunch of ideas. He was like, oh my God, this is great. The first record he sent me was Celebrate.
Which I love. And as an adult, I'm like, I know this is for kids, especially when you say it's on the sippy cup. I'm like, I do not have a sippy cup. But as an adult, I was like, wow, I find myself moving to it as well. So I was like, I know if I'm moving to it, I know the kids will move to it.
The kids, the parents, you know, because you gotta realize parents are listening to this music too over and over and over again, because kids like to hit rewind, do it again, do it again, do it again. Yeah. So you want to give them something to enjoy. All good Disney movies have the good little jokes for the parents in there too, so they can sit there and watch. So I wanted this record to feel like that. I connected with an incredible writer. I had never worked with another songwriter before. Okay. Mary Brown, who had written a bunch of songs for incredible people. She's worked with everybody from Michael Jackson, Destiny's Child, Beyonce. She's
iconic.
Iconic.
Yeah.
And we met through the Recording Academy. We met through one of the events, and so she was like, yeah, let me hear the music you're doing. I let her hear it. She was like, this is some bad stuff. So we started working together, and we actually came to Tree Sound Studios.
I was going to say, you recorded a song right here.
A few songs. Yeah. We recorded Celebrate here.
Okay.
So what we did was I took my niece's cheer team, from Genesis Innovation Academy here in Atlanta. Okay. We took about 20 girls under the direction of Miss Moore, and we brought them into the A room. Terrence, man, let me tell you about this engineer Terrence. That's a bad dude. I hit him up and told him what I wanted to do. He set us up so beautifully in the A room. It was professional. We came in here, we captured these girls. Celebrate, when you hear those voices singing, let's celebrate, hey, hey. These young ladies were into it, and you brought up I'm a Force. It's one of my favorites.
So when listening to the album and listening to Mumu Fresh, who's the hip hop artist that's featured on that song, I'm listening to the lyrics.
Yes.
And very, very powerful. And as we were talking before we started recording, as a kid growing up, nursery rhymes not so much. It was movie soundtracks. The Wiz was huge for me. Star Wars, even till this day, as an adult, when I hear that Darth Vader entrance, I feel powerful and that I can conquer the world. But I didn't have this, and I was like, wow, for kids to have lyrics that tell you that you're going to be great, for lyrics to tell you to look in the mirror and speak to your situation or speak to yourself. That to me is not cliche. That is for real. And I think with so many messages that our kids get through social media, that they get when they go to their respected, elementary schools or middle schools or even high schools, the messages that they're constantly getting, the things that they're seeing on television and in commercials, what they're being bombarded with, to be able to have these type of words spoken to you. And I really believe that what you meditate on, what you take in is what you become. So if you're listening to words of affirmation, words of encouragement, words that tell you that you're going to be listed among the greats, right? That to me is so important. And the fact that you all recorded that
We
right
recorded
here.
it right here.
Yeah.
What was so powerful for me with these young girls? First of all, Mumu and I had worked on this project. I actually played behind her when she did Black Girls Rock.
Okay.
That was the first time I met her, but we found ourselves at in this project, and I knew I was making this record, and I was like, Mumu, I need you on this record.
Yeah.
She's one of the most positive Black female rappers out here today. More people really need to embrace this music and the message that she's putting out. It's not this commercialized negativity.
It's not fluff.
It's not fluff. It's real. Mumu gets to the heart of it, yo. She's so real. Woo, man. With these lyrics, listen, when these kids came in here, because I had to send them the songs so they know the songs, they came in here with their heads held high, their shoulders held high. They embrace these music and this message, man. Hear them screaming, I'm a force to be reckoned with. Oh, yeah, of course I'm gonna do my best. Woo, listen, this is what kids need in their lives. We need a balance. It's too many images and messages out here for young girls that lead them a little bit astray. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
We can't always be twerking and those things.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
We can have fun.
There's a time and a place for
There's
everything.
a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And this music and this message for this generation is so powerful. We have so much depression. We have so much anxiety. We have so much fear. But when I say you got to get up every day, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I believe in myself. I'm a force. That's my alarm when I wake up every morning, because sometimes I got to be reminded too.
Yeah.
Man, when we came in here and those kids started singing this song, man, it brought tears to my eyes, yo. Can't nobody fade me, not even my barber. I'm a force, I'm an energy. Positivity and peace is my ministry. I'm a creative, innovative, watch me do my thing. When I'm done, the world gonna remember me. Mumu really came in. She understood the assignment, man. She came to my house.
Wow.
We recorded her vocals in my house. I do all my recording vocally at the crib. And then I brought the kids in here, and they just enhanced this record in ways unimaginable. It was a time. I don't even have the words to describe it. It was so big, and it filled this space with love and encouragement. And I hope that these kids, for the rest of their life, feel like they were a part of something special. I've just been trying to stay in my purpose, the purpose that God has for me, because sometimes what God has for me may not be what I think I'm supposed to be doing and what I'm supposed to be being. So sometimes I got to get out of the way. Let go and let God move through me. Whatever this music is, whatever you want from me, Lord, I will serve. And I think that's where I am in my life. I'm in this space where I will serve. And I got to serve the music.
And you will keep on serving that music and serving the gift that is inside of you, because it is inspiring the next generation. And you're doing such an amazing job. So proud of this project and what you're doing, and cannot wait to just see what else happens for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
this has
that
been
means
so.
so
This
much.
has been so good. And
Thank you for
glad
doing
No,
this.
I'm glad you called me.
Me too. Me
Glad
too.
you called me. Yeah. When we come back, a special performance by Divinity Roxx. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
As promised, we've got a performance from Divinity Roxx. Get him, Divinity.
We're going to do a little something off the Worldwide Playdate album. I got that girl dad swag. I get it from my pops. That girl dad swag. Yeah, my girl dad rocks. When I walk, I strut, I lean, I rock. That girl dad swag. Yep, got it from my pops. Got that girl dad swag. I get it from my pops. That girl dad swag. Yep, my girl dad rocks. When I walk, I strut, my head up high. That girl dad swag. Yep, fly, fly, fly. My daddy was my first superhero, the strongest man that I know. He'd take me on adventures and I follow. He taught me how to ride my bike and how to roller skate. We used to roll around the park on a sunny day. He taught me how to change a tire, and even when I'm tired, I could dig deep to inspire higher. He taught me put my hands up on a roller coaster and I would scream until the ride was over. Girl dad swag, I get it from my pops. That girl dad swag, yeah, my girl dad rocks. When I walk, I strut, I head up high. That girl dad swag, he taught me fly, fly, fly. Got that girl dad swag, I get it from my pops. That girl dad swag, yeah, my girl dad rocks. When I rock, I strut, I lean, I rock. That girl dad swag, yep, got it from my pops. Ow, ow. Having fun. I was standing on the shoulders of a giant. I lifted off into the sky, now I was flying. I looked around and my friends were like Avengers. We were headed on all kinds of adventures. We were flying, united and great. We were going on a big worldwide play date. The colors of the rainbow was lifting us up, and the purple heart emoji helped to raise us up. Ha, ha. Raise me up to be kind. Raise me up so I shine, shine, shine. Raise me up, woo, that's hard to play. Raise me up to be shine, shine. It's a worldwide play date. Welcome to the 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 worldwide. It's a play date, everybody jump in. Oh, go get your friends. Yeah. It's a worldwide play date. What you wanna do? I wanna play. Calling up my friends to make a play date. Best day ever. I just wanna say, I hope it never ends. Can we do this every day?
Thank you for watching this special edition of Upfront Inside the Entertainment Industry. Catch Ray Cornelius every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. on Jazz 91.9 WCLK and WCLK.com.